I started making this really close study of the New Testament. I don't know if you have an Orthodox study Bible or not. I do. Yeah. But it's got this great commentary from church fathers, and it just really opened up my way of like seeing the New Testament with new eyes, right?
It probably showed you that there wasn't this great apostasy either.
Oh,
if you're
certainly. That seemed like a huge theme to me, was like the faithfulness of the early church and like God's promises as the new Israel, and how like the church is like this permanent institution. Like that was all starting to sound like really plausible to me as I'm reading the scriptures. But I was still just like too afraid to take any steps toward anything. And then one night this is why I say I'm going to sound like such a charismatic.
Well, many of the saints sounded like that too. So
I'm not a saint.
I wouldn't apologize for it.
But I had a dream. So by this time, several of my other siblings had left the church, the LDS church. But I had just found out that my youngest sibling, who had just turned 18, had left the church as well. And I was really worried about him. And so I had this dream where in my dream, my youngest brother and I were walking along this like row of churches. And when we got to the end of the row, there was a Catholic church on our left and an Orthodox church on the right. And so we kind of dipped into the Catholic church, and I'd never been to Mass, and I'd never been to Divine Liturgy, right? And so, in this dreamlike state, we kind of see the Mass. I don't remember what it looked like, but I remember we kind of walked out being like, well, that was nice, And then we walked into the Orthodox parish on the right, and it was so beautiful and overwhelming that it woke me up. I woke up, it was like 5 a.m. I like woke up and I thought, I have to go to an Orthodox Divine Liturgy today. It was a Saturday. I didn't know how that would happen in Utah. As you might imagine, there's not a lot of Orthodox churches. But I looked it up and found out there's an Orthodox mission like 15 minutes from my house, and they were having liturgy that day. They had only visiting priests would come out to serve that mission. But they were having one that day.
Not Vespers, Divine Liturgy.
Divine Liturgy, Saturday morning. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was like, I'm going. Like, I have to go, right?
Did you tell your wife?
Yeah, yeah. I said, I have to go to Divine Liturgy today. And I don't remember if I told her about the dream or not. And she's like, okay, whatever. Go if you have to. So I went, and it was just totally bizarre, right? Like, it was, there was like 2 other people there. A priest from Salt Lake City, had come down to serve Divine Liturgy, Father Justin, and like one cantor, and the music was weird, and the incense was weird, and the icons were weird. And I remember just kind of sitting there being like, this doesn't seem like my dream. But it was like my first exposure to it, right? Like the first real experience of liturgical worship. And I just remember driving home afterwards just thinking like, this is just a strange experience to me. Like just that dream and going, and what a different way to worship.
Yeah. Is there no liturgical aspects in the LDS church?
None on the regular weekly.
Okay.
So they're kind of like, it's much more, Mormonism is kind of like high church theology, low church worship.
Okay.
So they're quite sacramental, right? Like with, all men being priests, and they give blessings, and what they call just the sacrament is like communion service it's seen as having like real effect. It's not just a memorial meal. I mean, it is a memorial meal to them, but like you are renewing your baptismal covenant, like your personal covenant when you partake of the sacrament. So it has like a real thing that's occurring when you do it. It's not just, we're just remembering Jesus.
I love what you're pointing out, though, because I think too often Catholics or Orthodox, I presume, are so enamored by their beautiful liturgy, which is in fact beautiful, that they just think, I'm going to bring my mate over here, and just the sheer beauty is going to blow him away. And sure, sometimes that happens, but if you're not accustomed to liturgical worship, it is, as you say, it's just kind of weird. Yeah,
on a regular Sunday, LDS worship is, you come in, you get kind of a pretty informal greeting by like the leader of the congregation. It's like, welcome to church. We're happy to have you here today. We're going to start by singing this song. And then the whole congregation sings a hymn. And then they'll do some announcements and things like that. Some like kind of business, take care of some business. And then you'll move into, they call it the sacrament portion, where they sing a song, they bless the bread and they use water. And then they pass the trays around, everyone takes it. And then you get a couple sermons and then it's over, and you sing a song and it's done. So very low church.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
In the temple, it's very liturgical, or it's very ritualistic, right? It's not anything like a traditional Christian liturgy, but it's extreme. It's ritual beginning to end, which is very shocking to a lot of LDS people when they go to the temple the first time, because all your exposure is this very low church thing. And then you go into this, 2-hour-long ceremony that is just totally regimented. And, and you're just like, what the heck? Like, Do
you think the experience of many Mormons are, why don't we do this back there? Or is it, I don't like this at all?
So many of them have the second experience where they don't like it. I had a cousin that basically left the church for years because she was kind of traumatized by her first temple experience.
What's traumatizing about it?
Well, I don't know how much details I want to get into.
That you don't have to, but why don't you want to get into details?
Because I'd have to explain what would you found so strange.
Okay.
It's very similar to, there's a lot of Masonic elements in the LDS temple because
wild.
There's a lot of things that are like exactly copied from Masonry.
Wow.
Including things like special hand grasps and special hand signs that you learn and that sort of thing. And so to go from,
hey, we're going to sing a song.
Yeah, we're going to sing a song and kind of talk about Jesus, kind of like many LDS services would feel very similar to like many Protestant services on a Sunday, just in terms of what's talked about,
et cetera. Better looking people in better clothes.
That's right.
That's just my assumption. Yeah.
And then you go to the temple and it's like, we're going to teach you secret passcodes and things like that.
I can see how that
to get into heaven, and you're kind of like, what is this?
Can you please tell me, our listeners, about the temple card, the ID that I presume you have that, because that's just cool.
Yeah, so they have this thing called the temple recommend. So to go in the temple, you have to be a member in good standing, worthy to attend. It's only for people who are really living the faith. So that includes standards to get your temple recommend, you have to meet with two people, your bishop and then what's called your stake president, who's like the next guy above him. And they both ask you the set of same questions. And they start with just sort of like, do you believe in God, Jesus, and the Holy Ghost? Do you believe in Joseph Smith and the restoration of the gospel? Do you support and uphold the current leadership of the church? That sort of thing. Then they say, do you keep the law of chastity? Do you keep the word of wisdom? Like, do you not, which is mostly means, do you abstain from alcohol, coffee, tea, and tobacco? Do you pay a full tithing? Only full tithe paying members, like a full 10% of your income you have to pay that in order to get your recommend. So a series of questions like that. When you finish that, you get a little card that has your name on it, and you have to present that to them to get into the temple.
Now, this is not important at all, but is it laminated? Is your face on it? How does it look like a driving license?
No, you can just Google it and see. It's just a piece of paper. Now, when I first went through the temple, it's literally just a piece of paper with your name on it. They now do have a barcode system. So when you go there now, they scan it. So that way they can like deactivate recommends or whatever if they need to, that sort of thing.
Okay.
But it doesn't have your picture on it. At least I don't think it still does. I don't think that there's like a picture of you that comes up on the screen. Maybe there does.
Yeah.
It's a cool idea. I'm looking at the picture of it. It looks like a library card from the 90s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's about right. I would agree.
It looks like it's like maybe 4:3 ratio. It says the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Yeah. It's got first name, middle initial, last name. This picture is really low quality. Let me try to find one I can actually see.
I like the idea. I wish we could implement that.
No, so it's a business card.
Give one to Nancy Pelosi or take it away from her.
It's a business card that gets folded in half, and on the back it has your signature, the ward you're at, which would be like your parish, right?
Yeah.
And then your stake, which is like your diocese. And then the signature of the bishop and the signature of the stake president.
Yeah, and now
there's a number on it, which you said now they have barcodes.
Now they have barcodes, and so they're like they have to be activated via kind of like the computer system before you can use it, that sort of thing. And so they're not that hard to like. There have been times when people have shared them, passed them around.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very discouraged, and culturally it's very frowned on. I'm not, but like, say there have been some people who've wanted to like kind of expose temple ceremonies, and they've snuck in with cameras and whatever. And so sometimes they'll get those, find disaffected members and take their recommends and do that sort of thing. I don't recommend that. I think that's very disrespectful of something that people hold very sacred. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, safeguarding the sacraments is very important. But gatekeeping the sacraments is not good. And where you draw the line between safeguarding and gatekeeping is obviously going to be like difficult to do. But I would hesitate to gatekeep the Eucharist in such a way, if that makes sense. I don't know. I mean, I like the way the Orthodox do it. Like when I was going to the Orthodox church, the pastor, the priest knows all the people in his parish. Like if he doesn't know you, he's not going to give you the Eucharist. He'll be like, "Who are you?" If you wanted the Eucharist, you should have come to me before Divine Liturgy and told me who you are and where you're from, and when your last confession was. So
this first experience of the Divine Liturgy was a bit weird.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Get
us back to that.
So it was weird, but it kind of like grew on me a little bit. I was like, it's kind of like the attraction of the exotic almost, right? Like, wow, what the heck was that?
Now, do you think if you went to that exact same Divine Liturgy today, you'd find it rather beautiful?
Oh, yes, definitely. Okay. I mean, it was still very simple. It was still a very simple liturgy, right? In this small mission parish with like 3 people there, no deacon, so it was a very simple liturgy, but I would definitely find it beautiful now.
I want to tell you about a course that I have created for men to overcome pornography. It is called strive21.com/Matt. You go there right now, or if you text STRIVE to 66866, we'll send you the link. It's 100% free, and it's a course I've created to help men, to give them the tools to overcome pornography. Usually men know that porn is wrong. They don't need me or you to convince them that it's wrong. What they need is a battle plan to get out. And so I've distilled all that I've learned over the last 15 or so years as I've been talking and writing on this topic into this one course. Think of it as if you and I could have a coffee over the next 21 days and I would kind of guide you along this journey. That's basically what this is. It's incredibly well produced. We had a whole camera crew come and film this. And I think it'll be a real help to you. And it's also not an isolated course that you go through on your own, because literally tens of thousands of men have now gone through this course. And as you go through the different videos, there's comments from men all around the world encouraging each other, offering to be each other's accountability partners and things like that. Strive21, that's strive21.com/Matt, or as I say, text STRIVE to 66866 to get started today. You won't regret it.